if I'm not mistaken, this is the first time we've seen Klingons on Strange New Worlds. They have kind of a mix of the movie era makeup and a little bit next gen, but I'd say it definitely hints more to the movie era. Their uniforms also, they're kind of like an interesting mix of next gen movie or next gen uniforms, but also classic series with the gold. I think there may have been some disco era Klingons in the background of the shot, but I wasn't real sure. But I do know that in the previously on section for this episode, even though they directly reference and show ships blowing up in the Klingon War from Discovery, they don't show any Klingons.
Yeah, I'm wondering if they're retconning their own retcon. Although, I don't know if you're a fan of Star Trek Online.
I have only briefly played anything from that. Like, I played when they released the original series missions that they did.
Right.
I played for like an hour or two one day, and that is all I ever played.
Well, they did do... I'm rather an avid player myself, but I was playing the new expansion that they just came out with a couple of months ago. I want to say maybe about a month or two before this season of Strange New Worlds aired. And the name escapes me right now, but it was a continuation of Deep Space Nine, sort of like maybe 30 years on, and they brought back some of the original voice actors from Deep Space Nine. They brought back Kira, Gowron. They brought back Martok. They brought back quite a few. It ends up there is a clone of Chancellor Gowron who Worf ends up slaying it towards the end of Deep Space Nine. It shows him without his infamous long flowing mane that he was known for since the Next Generation episodes where he was first featured. And under his hair, his head shape and features are very reminiscent, if not indistinguishable, from Disco era Klingons.
Oh, okay.
So I think what they're going with now is that they've always looked like that. It's just that's what they look like
under
for the most part when they're bald.
Gotcha. Well, and I'm okay also with the idea that there's different species of Klingon, because if you look at the United Federation of Planets, how many species make that up?
That's true. I've heard a bunch of different theories about it. Honestly, I've found it a little more jarring that they switched off from the Disco era Klingons. I didn't really have that much of a problem with it other than the initial, oh, okay, that's different. But I thought that they wrote those guys pretty well. I definitely, over this episode and also again further into the season, noticed a bit of a change in writing tempo for them as well. They're definitely, like you said, borrowing more from the movie and TNG eras of giving them their lines, although they haven't had many speaking lines this season.
Yeah.
But when they do, you can definitely tell.
Right. Well,
like on Discovery, they kind of spoke like slower with a little more oomph in their voice. And this one is kind of the more choppy sort of tone that you get from TNG.
Yeah. No, I can definitely see that. And I guess this is one of those areas where our age difference shows in. You're like 25 years younger than me, if I remember right.
Yeah, 26 in a couple of days. So thereabout.
So, yeah, so 20, yeah, okay. So my entire life, the Klingons have been changing. I was 6 when the motion picture came out, and they were way different than they had been on the TV show. And then the Klingons on The Next Generation were pretty different than the ones in the movies. And, so when Discovery came around, they're like, oh yeah, they're changing the Klingons. I was like, well, they're changing the Klingons again. It's okay.
Right.
They've been doing this for 40 years, So that was kind of my take on it. It really didn't bother me at all.
Just another facelift.
Yeah, just one more, you want to make them a little more alien? Cool. Okay. So that was kind of my take on it. But I did find it a little odd that they didn't reference them a little more. Even if you're going to drop more classic style Klingons in there, have a couple of the Discovery era guys hanging around, because it's true. When you grow their hair out like they did in season 2 on Discovery, they start to look like the Klingons we already know.
Yeah. I mean, they could have at least, I like that they would, try and cater to people that maybe found the original thing just a little too jarring for them. But at the same time, it doesn't have to be one or the other. It can be both. It's a big galaxy in Star Trek.
Yeah, you can mix them around. I don't think it's, the Klingon Empire, they're supposed to be an imperial thing. There should be more than one race in there. Outside the settlement, Leanne meets with the crew and is shocked that they swiped the Enterprise, saying that she would have lost a lot of money on bets on that one. Chapel acknowledges that Vulcans can be full of surprises, and Spock reminds her that her message was urgent.